Good morning, Real Moms. Okay, so I'm so pleased to hear so many of you commenting and buying the water bottle and the bralette. And I started this group just to get a bunch of real moms together thinking about what it takes to be a real mom and stay well. So I'm so pleased to hear that these things are, kind of making your day or helping get you on track or help you stay on track. So I feel compelled to do a quick update and video about the ARC notebook. I hear several of you posting and talking about how it might help you. And so in full disclosure, you should know if you're considering the ARC notebook, what you might be getting into. So I love it, I can't live without it, and there are some things you should know. All right, so join me, if you will, for a second. This was my first ARC notebook, given to me as a gift by a lovely person who I was mentoring, and I thought, how nice. And this is a smaller version. As you can see, my gold one is bigger. This is a little bigger than an 8.5 by 11 sheet. This one's a little bigger probably than a 5 by 7, something like that. This was given to me, as I said, by a colleague, and it came with this nice little rubber bandy thing that you could keep it closed with. And I used it to some extent, and as you can see, and it had special little papers in it, like papers saying, particular things regarding project management and whatnot. And I used this on and off for a year or two before I really decided that part of my limitation here was that I'm always trying to organize mom papers, like make sure you send in, cheese curls on Thursday for the cheese curl party or like whatever. And those papers were getting like folded and lost in the shuffle, or papers for the swim team, or papers for a special follow-up with my bank, or like whatever, that I couldn't necessarily fit in here. So I decided at one point that I like the utility of this disc style notebook, which, by the way, that's the kind of generic name of it, is a disc notebook. ARC is the brand name, which I believe is proprietary to Staples. I don't know. And like this gold one is like fancy schmancy Martha Stewart, which I didn't buy because it's Martha Stewart. I bought because it's gold and I thought it was like prettier. But it's actually called a disc notebook. I've been calling it ARC, it's disc. So anyhow, I decided that, this small one wasn't quite cutting it for me, that I was going to upgrade to the gold one because, or I'm sorry, okay, the big one, because, because I just felt like I needed to store papers differently and more than that little one allowed, right? And that has solved so many things for me. So a couple things you should know that you'll need to buy with the ARC notebook to make it as useful as possible for you. So when it starts out, you're gonna think, boy, I'm making like an investment in my notebook, which feels goofy, and yet I can tell you that the way this helps me organize myself is beyond worth it. Myself and my family and my life in general. Okay, so when thinking about it, if you decide the smaller one's for you, great. If you decide the bigger one's for you, great. I prefer the bigger one, and here's why. Couple things. So first of all, I don't function well with a small size calendar. And this is the size calendar pages that I use. So you can see it's pretty sizable. It takes up the whole thing. So I like the idea that I can have a full size calendar in here to write kid stuff, family stuff on, and keep it in here. So that's the first thing you'll need to consider is, do you want to keep your calendar in here? And if so, how big do you want it? And that might help you decide if you want a big one or a small one. Some people prefer smaller calendars. Some people would prefer being able to just carry this in their purse. As opposed to me, I make a purse big enough that I can carry my notebook. My God, I so need a life. Okay, so that's the first thing you need to know. The second thing you need to know is you definitely will want one of these. So this is an ARC notebook paper hole puncher thing. So as you can see by this disc binding, this is how the papers sit in it. So it's not like a standard 3-ring binder. You can't use standard paper. So that's another thing that could be a barrier to making it feel easy at times. But you have to buy special paper. Now that special paper is perforated like this. And I want you guys to know I took a big risk. I took my whole notebook apart here to show you this morning. Just kidding. So this has special like perforation along the edge. This is the ARC notebook paper. And you can use this to make any paper an ARC notebook paper. So when a paper comes home from school, or you have a paper you want to definitely like hang on to, having this really helps, because then you can put your own holes in it and slide it in to the section that you want to keep it in, which is my next part. This is the other thing I really like about the big one. I have section dividers that you can label that have a pocket. So in the event that it's not something I really want to invest in putting holes in, but that I know I need to hold on to for a day or two or a week, I can just slide it into the pocket. And that's a whole nother story of when I decide if it goes in the pocket or if I punch the holes in it. But these dividers are really, really essential. The other cool thing you can do is you can buy dividers with zippers at the top. So if you have, I don't know, like I put like gift cards and stuff in here that people give me, just so that they're sure not to fall out or whatever. So having those dividers with zippers is another cool feature. But I really like the ability to punch holes in my own papers for stuff I want to keep. So for instance, this is the calendar I use to track my wellness program that I do through my employer, which if you want to look it up, it's called Lean with Amanda Nybert. It's really awesome. I recommend it to everyone. And that's a actual wine stain on there, just gonna say. So, but I can punch holes in it and keep it in here, because that's something I want to keep in front and center for me every day. If you're getting the ARC notebook though, you definitely need to consider buying these special papers. And I will tell you, I have tried to make my own and like print. I thought, okay, well, these are kind of expensive. Like you get a pack of like 50 or 100, and it's definitely way more expensive than regular paper. But when I make my own, the paper is thinner and I just don't think they write as nice. So again, it's like the commitment I'm making to myself, one of my little pleasures, that I buy the expensive paper. I do, however, make my own calendars. I print the calendar using Word and then hole punch it myself. What I have found to be least useful are these. They are so cute and adorable and not really very functional. Like, I love Post-its as much as the next person, but I haven't found these to be really helpful. Like before sunset, after sunset, how about like work all day? I don't know. So, okay, so that's my ARC notebook update. I hope that you will look it up, and if you think it will help your wellness journey, do it. It has certainly helped mine. Okay, thanks, bye.